All right, guys, well, I'm back at the range today setting up a brand new handgun, a Glock 45 with a factory MOS cut and threaded barrel. I've got the RMR adapter plate, but if you look at this gun and pretty much all of my other guns, I've actually pulled off all of my Trijicon RMRs and swapped them out with a wide variety of other companies' RMR cut or RMR style optics, and that's due to a number of reasons. We're going to fire a few rounds out of this, make sure everything's sighted in, then head back to the tabletop to discuss why I like a lot of other options better than that standard Trijicon RMR. And it's not only just the price point, it's some feature sets as well. Let's take some shots and head back. Now that we're back to the tabletop, let's discuss why I went from this to this. There are so many new options when it comes to micro red dots, especially ones that do the job and do it very well at affordable prices. And there are so many different opportunities, features, and just really nice qualities about some of these that really made me select a lot of these over the standard Trijicon RMR Type 1 and Type 2. Now, if you follow the channel, you'll know that originally some of the more premium optics that I would recommend for an RMR cut style optic were the Trijicon RMR, and I still think this is a good choice if you don't mind spending the money and you want the name brand recognition and made in the USA quality of a true Trijicon RMR. If you want to save a little bit of money and maybe even get better glass clarity and a better feature set at far less of a price, then some of these options may be right for you. Again, not saying this is a bad option, just saying for me right now, I'm actually switching out a lot of these that are on my handguns with some other options that you're going to find on the table. Let's talk about them. Now, the first thing is going to be the elephant in the room price point. The MSRP of a Type 2 RMR, which is one of the latest versions of the Trijicon RMR, is right around 800 bills. That's just a lot of money. Even street price, you were looking at a little over five. So that's still a lot of money for an RMR style optic. And a lot of these ones I'm going to be discussing that you can truly depend on, and I actually trust my life with on concealed carry handguns, defensive handguns, or kind of car guns, truck guns, or nightstand guns, generally start costing right around the $150 to $250 mark, and you can get a lot of bang for your buck when it comes to that price point, and that's the price point we're really going to be focusing on. And if you follow the channel and you can see on the table, I've tested a lot of different alternatives. And I've been doing this now for about 8 to 9 years. And I've really developed some opinions over the years and watched companies develop. I'm going to be talking about some of my favorite companies that I moved to for pistol red dots and green dots, and some that I truly trust my life to. The first one is really one of its first high-value competitors, the Holosun series of red dots. Now, this is a full-size competition style dot, and we'll talk about some advantages of that compared to a traditional RMR style, but just know across the board, Holosun seems to be really killing it when it comes to quality optics with a wide variety of features. Another company that came out of the woodworks and really developed itself on Amazon is the company Sealy. This is not just an imitator of other brands. Sealy truly designs, redesigns, and improves their optics year after year until they come up with large window drop-proof optics, and again, we'll talk a little bit more about those types of advantages in a second, but they offer a ton of really nice features with drop-proof ratings, and this company is absolutely killing it in that mid-tier price point. A little bit less than a lot of Holosun options, but honestly, better quality in some aspects and better feature sets. So Sealy is another great premium optics option. Now, if you want to start saving a little bit of money over the Holosun and Sealy's, because those generally go a little over $200 to $250, a lot of companies like Zolsi and Votatu have started coming in and producing really good optics as well. Votatu is a company that starts right around the $125 mark and climbs up a little bit, and the Zolsi's also start in that same price range and actually a little bit less, but Zolsi and Votatu have some entry-level optics, and Zolsi has some some more premium optics. And Sealy does that as well, but we are mainly talking about Sealy's new premium drop-proof optics for this particular setup. But these are some of the companies that I would recommend as alternatives to a Trijicon RMR. But know this, all of them are made in China. I am not recommending right now any other US RMR style optics because the only other ones I've tried, I believe, were from the company EOTech, and I just did not like it compared to other ones. If you are stuck on made in the USA optics, Trijicon is still going to be your best option, in my opinion. The next thing I want to talk about on why I would replace or have replaced most of my Trijicon RMRs is actual glass clarity and distortion, image distortion. So you can see with the Trijicon RMR, you do get a little bit of image distortion looking through that thicker pane of glass. Now it is durable, but you do get some image distortion, and that can affect you. It can slightly disorient you maybe when you're transitioning from target to target and really looking through. You can also see a very, very blue hue on this optic. So that was one downfall of the Trijicon. It's not the end all be all, but you can easily pick up even something like this dual pane Sealy and see absolutely no image distortion and ultra clear glass. On some of these competition Zolcies, massive viewing windows, very thick glass, but no image distortion on this guy. And again, ultra clear glass. And we can kind of go down the line with some of the more premium optics from Sealy. Even companies that are going to get a positive mention right here, like CV Life, the more affordable, like $100 entry-level dots, have very clear glass and very limited distortion. Gowutar, as well as Monstrum Tactical, all of those guys are going to be right around that 100 and under. Monstrum has some for 50, and all of them have better image clarity and less distortion on the image than your Trijicon RMR. The other reason why I've replaced some of my RMRs is because of window size. If you've ever shot a red dot before, when you presenting your firearm, it takes a little bit of training and getting used to, and the window size is going to determine how easy it is and how forgiving it is to pick up that dot. So you can see the image size right here, the window size. This is an RMSC, which is a micro compact dot. And you can already tell the massive differences between something like this with window size and glass clarity and something like the RMR. Then we start going to a standard size, which would be something like this dual pane, and you can see how much bigger the window is. You are getting definitely a higher window and a wider window, and you are still getting just as durable, if not more durable, in some of the Sealys. We'll talk about that in a second. Let's talk about some large window dots like the Zolcy. Now, the Zolcy just comes and blows it out of the water when it comes to some of the competition style dots. Now, these are definitely different styles, but you don't get those options with the Trijicon. Even companies like O-Sight have come in and done really large windows for competition style. And then you have some of the Sealy Ghosts and Bowls, which have very large windows, perfect for competition, and drop-proof hoods on there. And then this bowl is just massive. You can see the size difference, so you can truly pick your window size with a wide variety of these companies that you see here on the table. Now, one thing that the Trijicon has always had going for it is it's built like a tank. Insanely durable, protective hood. It works out great, and this thing just takes a beating and keeps on ticking. But so do a lot of these options on the table. Now, you will see a lot of these basic options like this Gowutar that can take a pretty standard beating, but the Trijicon is going to absolutely kick its butt when it comes to drop proof and durability. But some that are going to rival it are a lot of the drop proof rated Sealys. All of these have been dropped on concrete, smashed into the ground, especially these ones with the oversized protective rings. These things are a beast, and they just continue to take drops. They also offer drop-proof ratings on a few different Zolcy options, and these guys have also held up incredibly well, and they're built like tanks. They've been dropped on a wide variety of different surfaces, and they just keep pounding and going on. Zolcy does some amazing stuff. You can see chunks of aluminum are missing where we've smashed them in the concrete, but they just keep working. Sealy also offers a wide variety of drop-proof rated dots with protective front hoods so you can rack the optic into something, and we've done all of this testing. And the other thing is these guys also have some enclosed emitter dots that are also drop-proof as well, like 6 foot in the air on concrete. So Trijicon does not hold the exclusivity of being incredibly tough. In fact, a lot of these might be just as tough, or dare I say, even tougher in some circumstances. Now, when it comes to dot brightness, this guy is going to get incredibly bright, and so will most of these others. There's not a lighting scenario that the Trijicon doesn't work in, and there's not a lighting scenario that any of these don't work in. These are just going to keep on working great in low light or high light situations. But one thing where most of these, even the cheaper $50 ones, kick the Trijicon's butt is battery life and the shake awake, motion awake, or kind of motion activated technology. All of these that are on the table have what is called motion awake, where when the optic senses motion, it automatically turns on and it goes into a sleep mode or dormant mode where the optic turns off after about 4 minutes to 6 minutes, depending on the optic. And that's going to really save your battery life. They're also using a very efficient LED projection system in these dots, so you're getting a much better battery life. In fact, the reason why I'm making this video today is because I had to swap out this Trijicon battery for the second time this year, and you have to completely dismount the optic to replace the battery at the bottom. These have been going and going and going much longer than the Trijicon. Some of these are going 2 to 3 years in without a battery change, with no issues whatsoever. And if I do have to swap the battery, the only ones I am recommending on the channel and the only ones I've been reviewing all have side load battery compartments. And they're still just as low profile as that RMR for sight clearing on your setup. So these companies have really figured out how to handle that just fine with the side load battery compartment and still a low profile design with a longer battery life than the Trijicon RMR. And it's got the shake awake and always ready technology. It's been so frustrating lately going through my RMRs and having to replace batteries because you have to break the thread locker on those screws, pop them off, replace the battery, set it back on, re-sight it in. First of all, I never had to replace the batteries on any of the other optics on the tables, including the Holosuns and things like that. They just keep going, and it's very durable. So, I mean, it's nice because you don't have to re-sight them in. So, love the battery life on a lot of these options. Love the side load battery compartment, and I really think like those take the cake on that Trijicon RMR. And the last thing I want to say is there's just more options, including enclosed emitter red dots, where you have a pane of glass in front and behind the emitter, and you simply can't do that with the Trijicon RMR. Now, you can do other optics that other companies make, like Aimpoint, but again, we are still talking about an $800 or $900 optic, where you can get an enclosed emitter drop-proof red dot like this Sealy that I just reviewed, that is insanely durable, waterproof rating, super bright, crystal clear glass, all for around $220, potentially even cheaper for different options. And the versatility is endless. If you want a top load battery competition style red dot, they've got those right here that just continue to push the limits of what can be done at affordable prices. In 2025, don't think you have to get an RMR to get a good quality dot for your defensive or carry pistol. There are so many good opportunities out there, and you don't have to be locked in. I know a lot of guys are going to be calling me like a guy who loves China, or can't believe you're recommending Chinese products over American-made products. But guys, I recommend value. I recommend quality for money, and I don't recommend junk. Everything on this table has been thoroughly tested and evaluated, and I am truly switching over. A lot of guns just came up today that I am setting up for personal use. They won't see time on the channel. They are merely for personal use. And I've selected Sealy's and Holosuns for those, and some Zolci optics when it comes to the competition style. I mean, that explains everything I'm personally doing. This is not something I'm doing for YouTube. It's a personal choice. Just because I'm tired of swapping out batteries on a Trijicon, I'm tired of the glass clarity, and I'm just tired of the bottom load battery compartment. It's just little frustrating things. But is Trijicon still a good option. Yes, if you're looking for a made in USA product and you don't want to sacrifice the made in USA aspect and you want a solid optic that you know is going to take a beating and has a proven true track record, the Trijicon is still an optic. But in my personal opinion, I'm going with other things. Thanks for watching, guys. Let me hear your hate in the comment section below, or let me know if you agree with me. I really, really want to hear your thoughts. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one.